Well, I've made a little bit of a name for myself when it comes to losing money on cars, but the most recent auction dump of mine was really bad. Now, when I buy these project cars, I don't usually expect to make all that much money. Sometimes I do, most of the time I don't. I lose a couple $1,000s, but make it up in making the videos and having fun, and overall it all works out because you all watching the videos, which I'm very appreciative for. But the losses on this last one, especially with one car, even the YouTube videos could not make up for it. It was unbelievably bad. So I have a relationship with my daddy, Doug DeMuro, at Cars and Bids, and about once a year, usually, or twice a year, I do need to end up selling some cars, and I'll put together sort of a collection of 3, 4, 5, and let them go. Doug makes fun of me because he says I need to pay taxes with them and thinks it's financially irresponsible that I don't have the money saved up and that I need to sell cars to pay taxes, but I don't really understand it. I mean, the cars I can sell no reserve, and they sell, I get money, I pay taxes, and I get to have more cars for longer and make more videos. In my weird business of Hoopty life, that makes sense financially, I think. Not to Doug, but whatever. He still makes his money on Cars and Bids, so I list all the cars, no reserve, and do okay sometimes, but not the last time. I had 3 cars that I was selling in this collection, some very fine specimens. A 2003 Buick Park Avenue Ultra, so the supercharged V6, the last of the big Buick land yachts, air ride suspension in the rear, big comfy pillowy bench seat, 70,000 miles, and yeah, the supercharged one, so the Ultra, which is a big deal. I love them. They are amazing land yachts, great power, and really hard to find in nice condition. I bought this one for, I think, $5,500. Not in the nicest shape, but it cleaned up reasonably well, and it needed quite a bit of work. I'll get into the numbers in a little bit when we talk about the losses. The second car, pretty fun. It was a 2001 Porsche 911 Turbo, 996 twin turbo, but it was a Tiptronic automatic. And I thought this was the perfect spec of car to do a Safari build to because it had 140,000 miles. The paint had faded from the Las Vegas sun because it was a Las Vegas rental. So then they repainted it with glitter. It was a black car, but then it was repainted in black glitter for whatever reason. That had faded, and it was a total mess. The interior was swapped out at some point. The seats don't have heated seats. They weren't turbo seats. I don't know why, other than they probably got melted in the sun. So it was a mess. It was the perfect car to actually make into a Safari. Drive it off-road, scratch it up, ding it up. You don't care. You buy a new 911 car for $200,000-$300,000, you're going to be scared to death to take it off-road. Unless you're a stupidly rich person, and this made a lot more sense to me. But the third one was a pretty stupid machine. It was a Range Rover Evoque convertible. Very rare, but Range Rover made these convertible off-roaders out of their teeny tiny little Evoques with a 4-cylinder turbo engine. And I thought it'd be really funny to buy one and take it off-road. And it was the cheapest one in the USA at a little over $20,000. And it showed up with a bad head gasket, and mechanic in a can poured into the engine to where it basically ruined it. So it showed up pretty much dead on arrival. I knew it was screwed, so I thought, well, why not just beat the thing into the ground? So I did that on my farm at the same time as when they were digging out my pond and redoing all of that. So it was like a perfect mudding off-road course where I just buried this thing in the mud, jumped it, just absolutely thrashed it, enjoying every minute of it. But people were so mad at me for destroying seemingly this Range Rover that just I wanted to prove to them that I could fix it from where it was and make it way nicer from when I bought it. So the cost of all that was a lot. So I went through and did all these things, the Safari build, sorting out the Buick, and fixing the Evoque, but then the videos were done, I was done having my fun with them, and it came time to sell. No reserve. And here we go. So I have a spreadsheet of the losses here. So we'll start with the least losy one of this run. So we'll start with the Buick. $5,500 purchase price, $1,200 to ship it to Kansas. And then these weren't as cheap to fix as I thought. So since it had sat forever and nothing was fixed on it, $4,106 in repairs. The coolant elbows, the intakes, the shocks, because the air suspension had failed, the air conditioner, tune-up, motor mounts, so many things, which before COVID, all the parts were easy to get. Totally different now. So you just double or triple the parts prices of what you think they were 5 years ago, because that's how it is. So that's how it came up to $4,106. $400 to detail it up as well, because the paint was really faded. It came out actually really nice, this sort of cranberry maroonish color, very old man color, but I loved it. Had a lot of metallic to it. And then I got some new tires for it as well. So it sold for $10,600, almost double what I paid for it, which is great. So I only lost $706. And it sold to a guy locally who was in his 80s, literally in his 80s. And that was the first car he'd ever bid on Cars and Bids. I don't know how he found Cars and Bids. He doesn't watch YouTube. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know Doug. He doesn't know anything. Maybe it popped up in a Facebook ad and he bought it. He bid and bought it. Loves the car. Still driving around Wichita to this day. So the Safari Porsche was a lot worse. I only paid $24,000 for the Porsche, which is really cheap for a 996 turbo. Really stupid cheap. The cheapest turbo in the USA. Ran and drove just fine. And fixing it up, there really wasn't much to do. There's very little mechanical stuff to do with it. The big cost was in the Safari conversion. So the repairs, not that much, probably less than $1,000. And the Safari conversion labor, $4,759. The parts for the Safari conversion, $12,499 for the suspension and the crash bars, the rock sliders and all that stuff. But it is a very nice heavy-duty suspension. You look at the build quality of it. It is really nice stuff. Made in the USA in California, Elephant Racing, great stuff. Put on a hoopty. But then when I finished it, I had a friend who really, really wanted to buy the car. But I wasn't going to sell it to him until I took it off-road. Obviously, I had experienced the fruits of my labor, but I took it mudding and jumping and actually crushed a turbo inlet, causing the car to run like garbage, caked it in mud, knocked it out of alignment, and then drove it to him like that, and he clearly didn't want the car anymore. The problem is that turbo inlet that I crushed is an engine out to fix. So that little excursion, $2,507. And then I had gotten mud absolutely everywhere. So I had to detail it to get it cleaned up to go to auction. It's $500 because mud was literally everywhere. It got sort of inside the cabin, mud was everywhere. So with all of that and the $24,000 purchase price, I was into this thing very deep, and it sold for $35,069, which meant I lost $9,196 on this Porsche. I mean, I had my fun. It was a cool build. I knew I was going to lose money, but that was a lot of money. There's Safaris that have sold a lot more, but this one was a Tiptronic, had the Vegas rental thing, the bad paint, so yeah, lost my butt. That's a big loss. That's a big loss. But the Range Rover, brace yourself. So I bought that one actually for $24,000 according to my spreadsheet. I thought it was $22,000, and then $1,360 to ship it here. That was the cheapest Evoque for sale in the USA. Normally they're around $30,000, but I think they're all sitting for sale for $30,000 and nobody's buying them. But mine showed up really bad with the bad motor. The engine itself, even though it's a Ford-based turbo engine, they're failing left and right in these Evoques, and they're very expensive. So a good used engine was $4,000. And because it's that Ford-based front-wheel drive thing, you have to drop out the whole front cradle and all that stuff. A big job to redo all of this. $4,470 in labor. And there was other things to fix with the suspension. Brake line was bad. Plastic things that I had broken that were put back together. And then I had trashed it. My pond, the previous owner had used it to drain his septic tank into and made it into a swamp. So it was poopy swamp water. And I had the top down when I was going off-road. And it got inside, it got outside. I scraped trees and scraped down the side of it. I had messed up the bumper, so the side and the bumper needed to be painted, and a very good detail. So I spent $1,500 on that, bumpers, side, detail, all that stuff. Now keep in mind, I paid $24,000 for this. It sold on Cars and Bids for $18,600, which means I lost $16,730 on that Range Rover Evoque, which percentage-wise, considering the price of the car, that is the biggest loss. And it was actually a Florida dealer that bought it for inventory to flip, thinking he got the deal of a lifetime. I think it's still for sale online for about $22,000, $23,000 with no buyers. So there's really no market for the Evoque. As rare as it is, Nobody wants to be seen in it. That's what I realized when I got it. I thought April, my fiance, would like it. My kids would like it. Nobody wanted to be seen in it. Apparently, it's a humiliating car to own unless you're in Miami South Beach, which is where I bought it from and where it went back to. So, yeah, that was a hit. I felt that one. It hurt. It hurt my soul.
Long-term viewers of the VINwiki channel will remember that years ago I joined with Sonny the Lamboa to explain that Avalon King's DIY ceramic coatings are not, in fact, snake oil. But now I've got Leo the Lamboa here to talk about Avalon King's latest offer. Their AS9 DIY ceramic coating for a limited time is just $59.99 at the link in the description below. And the first 100 orders will also get their Armor Shield Light Spray. It's a $34.99 value that makes it easier to put on and level out the coating, and it also gives you the same hydrophobic protection in an easier to use, easier to apply, easier to live with on a daily basis spray. So check them out now at the link in the description below to get the best discount we've ever offered on Avalon King products.